AEW's May 9th Fairway to Hell special program gave us one really interesting twist and one insane ending. So let's get into it. We started the night with Jack Perry versus Mark Davis. It was a very good match, front to back, top to bottom, left to right, side to side. Davis, obviously, big slobber knocker of a man. Perry, slightly less large slobber knocker of a high flyer. They clashed in several different ways. Perry was not able to do too much high flying to get Davis off of his feet. Perry did, however, get one really good Hurricane Rana while both men were on the apron. That sent Davis to the floor on the outside, and by floor, I mean the grass. They put pads over top of the grass, and that was that. That was that. Davis also hit Perry with a pretty ridiculous forearm while he was propped up about to do a springboard back into the ring. So both men were able to get off some really good shots. However, the interesting thing was Ricochet. Don Callis was interfering a little bit and had the referee paying attention to him. Ricochet slid in his golf uniform and hit Jack Perry in the back with a 9-iron, I'm assuming. I'm not even sure. I don't play golf. I'm not rich. So Davis ended up hitting a quick spike pile driver. 1, 2, 3, new national champion. Wasn't expecting it, but I'm not mad at it. We'll give the Don Callis family a little bit more gold. We'll keep Ricochet as a very interesting member of this entire thing. We do find out after this match that Ricochet and Don did have a deal, and so Ricochet is getting 2 members of the Don Callis family to join his team for the Stadium Stampede coming up. And we also got a backstage little thing from Jack Perry, who was on the phone, and he said, "Hey, thanks, I appreciate it, let's do this." He hangs up the phone, he turns, and he is going to bring the Elite and join the Stadium Stampede, which means it'll be Jericho, Perry, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, apparently, all up against, so far, The Demand. And we find out that Takeshita and Mark Davis are joining them. So that's our 5-on-5 teams. It's going to be a hell of a show. I'm excited to see how that all unfolds and what happens. There's really nothing more that I can say about that because it all unraveled so fast within the first 15 minutes of this hour-long episode of AEW. Then we moved on and got a little video package for Nick Wayne. He is in this year's Best of the Super Juniors. It's his second year in a row, which is super cool. So hopefully he can go and get some really good work done and get more than 4 wins, which is what he got last year. So we'll see what happens with that. Keep your eye on it. The second match of the night was Mega Cross. They came out, and while they were doing their entrance, there was a little video package that showed them in the back talking to one of the cameras, saying, "Hey, we're the champs. We're super awesome, but we're going to give everybody else a little bit better of a chance at a shot at our titles. So we now have a 5-minute challenge, and you don't have to beat us in that 5 minutes. You just have to survive, and you get a shot at the titles." And they came out and they fought up against Ruthie Slay and Rachel Lay, L-E-Y. It was 2 minutes and 15 second squash. They could have narrowed that down to 1 minute, but they didn't, which I don't know why they didn't. I guess Mega Cross just wanted to toy with their opponents for a little while. At the end of the day, it was what it was. Very nice little squash match. And we moved on from there rather quickly. We did find out that at Double or Nothing, we are going to have a fatal 4-way for the women's title. And it's going to be Hayter and Sheeta and Stat and Tekla. And the 4 of them are just fatal 4 for the title. Let's see which woman comes out on top. I'm very curious to see how Sheeta and Stat are going to coexist in this match. Sheeta's probably going to use a lot of underhanded stuff, while Stat is probably going to finally be tired of it and take her out at some point, at least once, I'm sure. They might work together a little bit, but I don't think any teamwork between them is going to last very long because it's winner take all. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Then we got a little bit of a build package for Kyle O'Reilly. It is nice to have him back. It is great to see him performing and being in the ring and doing his thing. I'm just not sure why they gave it to us. I'm not sure why it was a thing, but it was a thing. Lasted about 37 seconds, and we called it good. And then we moved into Mike Bailey versus Kieran Gray. That was a fine match. There was nothing wrong with it. No issues on my end whatsoever. It was just essentially another squash match. I think that one also lasted about 2 minutes and ended with Bailey doing his shooting star knees to the ribs deal. Got the 1, 2, 3. Kevin Knight popped into the ring because he was at ringside, and he grabbed a mic and he was like, hey, I know that I'm the only one that has gold right now, but that doesn't mean the two of us can't climb together and show people what we got. So that's a new build. I'm assuming they're going to start getting their eye on the tag titles, and we'll just see what Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight end up doing over the next few weeks. And then we came to the main event of the night, which was exciting. It was Darby Allin versus Pac for the title. No count-out stipulation. And because it was a no count-out stipulation, that did not mean that it was not no disqualification, and that did not mean it was false count anywhere. The win had to be in the ring, and there was disqualification if anything crazy started happening. But as soon as the bell rang, Darby slipped out of the ring, and he disappeared around part of the very small crowd they had at ringside. It must have been people who were at this golf tournament that paid extra to stand in specific spots on the green. And he went over to one of the sand traps, and he just kind of stood there and was like, come on, like, let's do this. And he did some warm-up moves and got his blood pumping. And then Pac joined him a minute later, and the two of them just had a little bit of a hockey fight. Darby ended up getting his slap, turn, roll, comeback. And he hit a fun little thing into the sand pit and sent Pac sprawling, getting covered in sand. And when Pac recuperated from that and crawled out of the sand pit, he walked to a second sand pit where Darby Allin gave him a John Woo drop kick into that sand pit, where a full backflip, whole thing. It was insane. They just continued to fight next to these two sand traps, and it was very entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but I'm glad nobody got sand in their eyeball, because as a person who has had eye injuries from tiny little things getting in there, it really sucks. And so I'm glad that both guys seemed to be totally fine. No one was covering their eyes. No one was wincing. Nobody was rubbing. So that was good. This entire match, the whole first half of this match, easily first third of this match, all happened out on the green and in the two sand traps. We hit a commercial break, and suddenly they were back in the ring, and they were doing their thing, and they were going back and forth. Lots of heavy hits. At one point, Pac started motioning toward the entrance ramp area, and a couple of the Death Riders came out and started messing around. Marina Shafir moved right up next to the ring and was just staring daggers into Darby. And then the cameras turned around, and there was table scaffolding. So that was interesting. Pac also grabbed a table and set it up on the outside of the ring and tried for a shooting star press from the top rope to the outside. Darby rolled away, and Pac didn't quite go through the table, but he hit the table with enough of his upper body with enough force that it broke in half. Here's a clip of that. It was just very interesting. And then as soon as the table scaffolding was built in the entryway, Pac picked up Darby after giving him a tombstone on the stairs, and he started to walk toward the entryway again. And we cut to commercial one more time. Coming back from commercial, Pac and Darby were at the top of the entryway, about 15, 20 feet up above the floor, where the four tables were stacked two by two. And Pac grabbed Darby by what looks like the back of the hair and just kind of went, ho, right there. You can watch it, just boop. and down he went. And he crashed into the floor, and it was a lot. Pac quickly ran back down. There was a staircase there magically. He ran back down, and he picked up Darby, and he threw him in the ring, and he got a 1-2 ooh, which was surprising to everybody. But after that, there was some more shenanigans with the Death Riders. The referee's back was turned. Someone slid the title into the ring. Pac picked it up, and as soon as he picked it up, Darby was right back on his feet, screaming at him, just bah, bah. And then with the referee distracted over on the other side, this happened. Darby turns, gets the coffin drop, gets the 1-2-3, retains his title. Wednesday, we're going to find out if MJF is going to sign the contract to make the match official, title versus hair. He has been very adamant online that his hair is real and that there's no way in hell anybody's going to take his hair from him. So we'll see what happens with that. We've also got plenty of other stuff to look forward to. We're 2 weeks away. We're 2 weeks away from Double or Nothing, and I am so excited. It's going to be a hell of a show. Everything's going to be so much fun to watch. So until then, I hope you have a great week. Don't do anything crazy. Goofy wrestling for life. Peace.